You weigh less than a house cat. The rainforest around you is completely black. Somewhere above you, a clouded leopard is already awake. This is a civet's reality every single night. For millions of years, this small, secretive mammal has survived in one of the most dangerous ecosystems on Earth, not by being strong, not by being fast, but by mastering something far more valuable: timing. Most people have never seen a civet. Most people don't even know what one is. But if you've ever heard of the world's most expensive coffee, you've already met one, without realizing it. So what actually is a civet? Picture something between a cat and a raccoon, with a long, low body, short legs, and a face like a fox wearing a mask. Scientists classify civets as vivarids, a family of small carnivorous mammals distinct from cats, dogs, or raccoons, even though they resemble a mix of all three. Some species, like the common palm civet, are found across Southeast Asia's rainforests, from Borneo to Sumatra to Vietnam. And almost everything about their body is built for one single strategy: staying invisible until the exact right moment. Let's start with your senses, because if you were a civet, this is where your world would actually begin. Your eyes are large, round, and packed with light-sensitive cells called rod cells, which decode simply as cells built for seeing in near total darkness instead of color. Humans rely heavily on cone cells for color vision in daylight. You don't need color tonight. You need shape, movement, and depth, and your eyes are tuned exactly for that. Your whiskers are next. They aren't decoration. They're a mechanical map of your surroundings, vibrating with air pressure changes to tell you the width of a gap before your body ever gets there. In a rainforest choked with vines, fallen branches, and near zero visibility, this single sense can be the difference between a clean escape and a dead end. And then there's your nose. A civet's sense of smell is extraordinary, layered with scent glands near the base of the tail that release a musky secretion used to mark territory and communicate with other civets without ever making a sound. Researchers studying Bornean carnivores, including biologist Andreas Wilting at the Leibniz Institute for Zoo and Wildlife Research, have used camera trap networks across Sabah's forests to track how secretive, nocturnal mammals like civets divide up territory almost entirely through scent, rarely crossing paths with each other, and almost never crossing paths with a predator, at least not on purpose. Now let's reconstruct what your night actually looks like. The sun goes down. The forest doesn't get quiet. It gets loud in a different way: cicadas, frogs, distant howls, all of it a curtain of sound you're used to your advantage. You drop from your daytime resting spot, usually a hollow tree or a dense tangle of branches high off the ground, because staying elevated during daylight keeps you away from ground predators while you sleep. Your first stop is food, and civets are what scientists call opportunistic herbivores, meaning you'll eat almost anything the forest offers that night. Fruit is a major part of your diet, especially ripe figs, and this single detail turns out to be ecologically enormous. When you eat fruit, you digest the pulp but not the seed. Hours later, in a completely different part of the forest, you deposit that seed, undamaged, wrapped in a natural fertilizer. Ecologists studying Southeast Asian rainforests, including researchers connected to the Wildlife Conservation Society's work across Sunderland's forests, have documented how civets act as critical seed dispersers, spreading tree species across distances a fruit could never travel on its own. Without you, entire patches of rainforest would struggle to regenerate. But fruit alone won't sustain you. Tonight you're also hunting insects, small rodents, frogs, even birds caught off guard on a low branch. Your low, flexible spine lets you move almost like a shadow through undergrowth too dense for larger predators to bother chasing you into. Speed isn't your advantage. Access is. Here's where the danger enters the story. A clouded leopard can smell you before you smell it, and unlike you, it doesn't need to conserve energy through caution, because it's built to overpower, not outlast. If you're a civet in Borneo or Sumatra, this predator is one of the primary reasons your entire life is organized around staying low, staying quiet, and staying unpredictable. Field research from Sabah's Danam Valley Field Center, one of the most intensively studied rainforest sites in the world, has used long-term camera trapping to reveal just how much nocturnal small carnivores like civets adjust their movement patterns specifically to avoid the exact hours and paths favored by larger predators. You're not just wandering the forest at night. You're threading a needle through it. So how do you actually survive an encounter? Because eventually, one happens. This is where the counterintuitive twist comes in. You'd think an animal this small facing a predator this dangerous would rely purely on running. But civets have something else, a defensive strategy almost identical to a skunk. When threatened, Some civet species can release a strong-smelling secretion from those same scent glands near the tail, overwhelming a predator's senses just long enough to create an opening. It's not about winning a fight. It's about buying 3 seconds, and 3 seconds, in a dense rainforest at night, is often all you need to disappear into cover a bigger animal can't follow you into. This is the real secret of civet survival. You were never designed to be the strongest animal in the forest. You were designed to be the hardest animal to catch. Let's talk about the coffee for a second, because it connects directly back to everything you've just learned about a civet's digestion. Kopi Luwak, one of the most expensive coffees on earth, is made from coffee cherries that civets have eaten, partially digested, and passed. The idea is that the fermentation process inside a civet's digestive tract alters the bean's chemistry, producing a smoother, less bitter flavor. Whether that flavor difference is genuinely remarkable or mostly marketing has been debated by food scientists for years, but here's the part that matters far more. The rise in demand for this coffee led to a surge in caged civet farms across Southeast Asia, where animals built for nighttime freedom in dense forest canopy are instead kept in small, stationary cages purely to produce marketable droppings. Conservation groups, including researchers affiliated with wildlife trade monitoring organizations, have raised serious welfare concerns about this industry, noting that wild-caught civets are frequently used to supply it. An animal that spent millions of years perfecting the art of staying hidden has, in some corners of the world, been reduced to a commodity kept in the open. Which brings us to the reframe. Civets have survived tigers, leopards, snakes, and deforestation, not through strength, but through adaptability, patience, and an almost invisible presence in an ecosystem most people never think about. They quietly rebuild the forests they live in every single night, one dropped seed at a time, without applause, without recognition, without ever needing to be seen at all. Maybe that's the part of this story worth sitting with. Not every important role in a system announces itself. Some of the most essential work, in a rainforest or anywhere else, happens quietly, in the dark, while almost everyone else is asleep. You weigh less than a house cat. The rainforest around you is completely black. And somewhere above you, a predator is awake, but so are you, and that, more than size or speed or strength, has been enough for millions of years.